Hey everyone,
Change it,
welcome to
baby.
another edition. What? Changing the end of the hat? You know, man, I
Yeah.
tell you what, I look at this thing all the time and I go, and I just like the way I look with a hat better. I don't know what it is. All right, here we are. We're live. Again, it's a Bolt City podcast. It's Dave Palais, Josh Palais, Mario Heron. We appreciate everybody that's watching live on YouTube right now. I hope you guys don't miss the show because you guys have been great, the ones that watch live. And the ones that, man, when are you guys going to do a live show? Oh, that's weird. I missed it. Oh, I'm so mad at myself for missing it. Dude, it's real simple. Tuesday, Thursday, 1 o'clock Pacific time. Don't miss the show. Nobody cares that you missed it if you're going to write it. Just write on there, I'm an idiot in your comments. That's it. Because it's the same damn time, same 2 days every week. We all want to get on the same page. You're looking at 3 of the dumbest guys on the planet right now. Don't be
Yep.
one of them. We don't need 4. Just sit there and know what time. Set your alarm. Put it in your calendar, whatever it takes. And I'm going to tell you again, because right now I question a lot of IQ points of what's going on. Please give us the thumbs up. Please push subscribe. And then follow the show all the way to the very end. Now, does it sound like I'm talking down to you? I absolutely am. This is the way it has to go. Until you guys stop writing, I can't believe I missed a live show. This is when we go. All right. So you have no one to blame but yourself. Everything your mom said about you when she wasn't so sure about where you were going to be class-wise, it was true. All right. So look, a lot going on from the last show. We were talking about NFL rankings as far as quarterbacks go. And as far as our lists, you know, the one person who wrote to me, I'll tell you right now where my feelings were hurt. Okay. I'm gonna tell you right
All
now.
right. All right. Just get into it. Yeah.
This is the one that bothered me. Okay. Man, I was right with Dave the entire time until he threw Tua in there. Dude, I don't know what the deal is with the Tua hatred. I don't know what the problem is. You guys can hate Tua all you want. The guy wins a lot. I mean, wins at a crazy rate. He's very accurate. You can say he has a ton of weapons. Great. He has a great offensive coach. I understand all that. Plays in warm weather. I understand all that. Tua has always been an accurate passer. He's always been a winner. And unfortunately, he beat our beloved Justin Herbert last year in week 1, okay, in Los Angeles. But the Tua hate is out of control. We wish we had a quarterback who had a winning percentage. We don't even have a quarterback who has a winning percentage. So for everyone to go, Tua doesn't belong even in the top 10, it's just straight hatred towards Tua. Let's be fair.
All right. Well, I didn't have 2 in the top 10, and I'm obviously an Alabama fan. So
And you had Herbert.
I had Herbert in my top 5. I had him number 4. I had him higher than you guys. Maybe I had him a little too high. But the criteria for our list, and correct me, Mario, if I'm wrong, was who was going to be the best next season. And I believe that Justin Herbert finally has a real head coach. He is going to be one of the top 5 quarterbacks next season. That's how I base my rankings, and I'm proud of my rankings. And I think, honestly, if you counted the tallies in the comments, your boy won. Okay, I think a few people said I don't know anything, but that's normal. The rest of the people said Josh has the best list. So hey, sorry about it.
Yeah. Well, when I stopped the count, like right after the show, and I was up, and Josh did take a commanding lead. Give that to Josh. Hats off. I play a fair game. Josh, I'm just happy I'm not, in last place. It feels good not to be in last. So Dave's in last place, and that's fine. Dave, you've been there before. And it just happens when you go to school with Kid Rock and you're, at this age right now, and you remember JFK being president, it's a tough spot. So, hey, we rocked them a little bit, and that's all right. Dave, it's a long off season. You can come back.
I was not alive when JFK was alive. I will say that. Okay. Look, a couple things. You can't sit here and turn the mic on and go, I'm proud of my rankings. You made them. Of course you're proud of your rankings. What the hell are you doing? Smacking your chest. I am proud of my rankings.
Well,
what the hell?
Okay, quote.
What?
Okay. I think we can all say here, we've done things and said things we're all not proud of. So that makes sense.
We've all done things and said things we aren't proud of. That's true. That's 100% true. All right. So overall,
can I give my 2 cents on the rankings? Can I give my 2 cents?
You know what? I will say this. Before you start talking. You have the floor. 100%. You won the poll right there. As far as out of the 3 of us, people like your rankings the best. Someone even said chef's kiss. Have you ever seen that?
That was nice. Yeah, I did see that. That was very nice. Subjective, right? These rankings are subjective.
Yes.
It was the hardest show for me to listen back to out of all the shows we've done because it sounded like we actually hate each other. And I was like, maybe cringe a little bit. I'm like, I think we're being a little bit too mean to each other, but it's entertaining. Like, I thought it was a good show. But at some points, I was like, it sounds like I hate Dave and Mario, which I don't. So I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah,
No,
we're one love.
no, we don't
baby.
hate each other. Literally, this is one of my favorite shows. I'm trying to think of things we do, whether it's picking through the schedule and figuring out what the record's going to be. Nice,
Oh,
Mara. It's not even
I'm pretty
Valentine's
pumped
Day. I
about
feel
that.
special. It was literally one of my favorite shows when we do the quarterback rankings because it's ultimate guy talk, right? It's in the bar. It's sitting there screaming at each other. It's all that stuff that we all know quarterbacks. Every person knows the quarterback, right? We talked about this a long time ago. You figure out a team and think about what do they do through their quarterback before any other position, even before their head coach. A lot of football fans can even tell the head coaches of different teams, but the quarterback, everybody knows. So when we get passionate about our list, a little disappointed Mario didn't do 32. But I think the issue is, Mario, when I look back at the show as far as why you didn't do 32, you literally went through every player like you were writing their bio for the media guide. What the hell, dude?
Yeah.
Use your
Yeah.
eyes. You watch every game. Just say, this is what I like. Just boom, 1 through 32. You don't need to sit there and write a bio and go through every guy's stats. You made it too hard on yourself. That's why it took Mario 4 hours to get to 10 guys. He's not dumb. He knows football. You broke everything down like guys' war numbers. What are we doing here?
I'm not gonna lie. I went to YouTube and I literally looked up film.
I know you did. I know.
Yeah, I got really into it. Well, because I was like, dude, if I'm gonna do 10, like if I'm gonna do 10, I want to lock in on the 10. And at like 32, I knew I had to go back and I knew I'd be on a Fields Island, Josh. So I knew if I'm gonna be on the island, I gotta be ready for war.
Is there a show that's more fun though than that? Like if we would have said let's rank our top 32 defensive ends, wouldn't it have been as fun? All right, quarterbacks are
No,
everything.
I'm not
That'd be
down
really
for any other
hard.
position at all.
Yeah,
I'm just
What would
down
be
for
the worst
quarterback.
position? If I said to you guys, hey guys, Nick's show, we're ranking
O-line.
defensive tackles. Yeah, really?
Guards,
O-line,
offensive
guards. Yeah,
guards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be so because there's no stats. You got that's literally all film.
no kidding.
I mean,
I'd
there's
just be making
stats,
stuff
but-
up. I'd be like, Mario, you don't know what you're talking about. Did you see that poll he had in the third quarter in week
Yeah.
13?
Yeah,
And he'd be like, yeah, I guess.
I would literally just Google whoever is in the Midwest, and I would just back them. I'd be like, all right, from the
That's
Midwest.
true.
That would be my thing.
That's not a bad move right there. It's not a bad move. Yeah, quarterback rankings. The way I did it was, as I said, if you had one season remaining, I didn't say this upcoming season, but one season. That's why I picked Aaron Rodgers, who I guess has won in my top 10. People got really mad. Wasn't that long ago that he won MVP. But again, I don't like Aaron Rodgers either. But at the same time, I thought he belonged in the top 10 as far as trying to. For me, I thought leading my team. That's why I had him. Either way, I got killed. It's over. Next year, I'll try and be better.
Well, I'm talking about being better. We didn't answer like any of the questions in the comments.
Yeah.
So this show we're going to dedicate to answering the questions from our last show. We're going to sprinkle in some questions from this show too, hopefully. So Mario, you have the questions in front of you, right? You want to kick it off?
Yeah, so shout out AK. Sorry, I told you that we would get to it last show. We didn't, so my apologies. So we're getting to this show. His question circles around 2024. I'm paraphrasing, of course. So sorry, AK, it's not word for word. Can the defensive unit be top 10 in the NFL in 2024? Can the Chargers defensive unit be that?
I'll go
ask
first.
you guys that. Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
Yeah. No, it cannot be top 10. I don't see any way the Chargers defense is a top 10 defense unless they go defense in the draft heavy and through free agency. Because right now we have a gigantic hole at linebacker. You can't have a top 10 defense if you don't have great linebackers. Chargers have 0 great linebackers. We don't know if we're going to keep Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. Who's going to stay? Who's going to go? Derwin James, we need him to have a rebirth year. Last year, you'd say Derwin James was not a top safety in the league. I think Brandon Staley has a large reason to do with that. And then corner, I really like Asante Samuel Jr., but we have a huge hole on the other side of the field. We need another corner to complement him and maybe be better than him and have a top corner in the league because right now we don't have that. I think the Chargers have too many question marks on the defense to say they could be a top 10 defense.
Well, that was depressing. That being said,
All right.
all right, we'll see you guys next Tuesday. No, that being said, I agree with everything Josh just said. I mean, honestly, that was as honest as can be. We can't be in the top 10 right now. Too many question marks, and we know they're going to get rid of guys. They know salary cap wise, they got to sit there and get down in numbers, and you're going to save that money mostly on defense. Even though as bad as our defense was a year ago, they're going to dump guys that were playmakers for us. Like we don't know if Khalil Mack's coming back. We don't know Joey Bosa's coming back. Derwin James, I was thinking as Josh was talking, not only have we started the show a couple years ago with how much all three of us love Derwin James and how we expected him one day to win a Defensive Player of the Year award. Derwin James took such a big step back last year that when the NFL does their top 100, I don't even expect Derwin James to be in the top 100. And that sounds crazy to say for a guy that looks like, man, this guy keeps playing as well as he has. And if he can stay healthy and maybe one day he's in Canton, Ohio in the Hall of Fame. Boy, last year was very, very disappointing, and especially when you didn't hear there were nagging injuries that were surrounding his disappointing performance. He just didn't play well. So Derwin James is a guy I want to see bounce back. But Josh, I agree with you. Everything he said is right on point. I mean, huge question marks on the defense, and that's why you have a new coaching staff. I mean, if Brandon Staley and his staff was up to par, and the guys who draft the players that on that roster were up to par, that defense would have been in a lot better shape, and you probably win a lot more games.
Yeah, I'm with you, Josh. If I had to give a percentage, I'd say it's like 60% chance the Chargers are defensive top 10 next year. I just don't really see it happening. I have like a little bit of hope there is because of the defense coordinator that's coming in, because of this proposed hard-nosed football, because Derwin James comes back and be, the Derwin James that we all know and love. We get one more season out of Mac. That's amazing. Maybe, him and Bosa both stick around and they end up being something. But the thing that's worrisome is every great defense needs a great corner. Right now, the Chargers just don't have a great corner. And it's not like right now we can go afford one, right? Like, I've mentioned his name 1,000 times. I'll mention it 1,000 times more because he's a hell of a player. Jalen Johnson's this guy that's a top corner. He's on the market, but it's not like the Chargers can afford him, right? It's not like they have the money to go out and go get him. So you're kind of going, all right, well, we can't get that, so we're going to look to draft. You can find good corners in the draft 110,000%, but they are hard to find, and it's a lot to put on the shoulders of a rookie to go guard the number one of another team. And just to look at, we have Mahomes twice a year. That's really, really hard. We have Lamar Jackson. We have Joe Burrow. We face the Browns, and I know you're like, oh, Deshaun Watson sucks. He absolutely does. But Stefanski's a hell of a play caller, hell of an offensive mind that you have to face. We also get Sean Payton twice a year. He used to say that Sean Payton doesn't find his guy. If he finds his guy, then that's 2 hard games that the Chargers have to face and 2 hard games to the defense. I don't think it's this year, gentlemen. I think it's something to come, though. And someone already mentioned in the chat, I don't think they need to be stellar, but they just need to be good enough. Good enough to just get by and give Herbert chances to win. I think they're in a good spot. As long as they're not bottom 5 in passing and rushing guys, I consider that defense a nice job. All right.
You know what? Wait, hold on real quick.
A
couple things real quick. Number one is I don't even know how important these rankings are as far as your offense and your defense, right? I mean, Josh brought this up a couple months ago. What was the year, Josh, where they're number 1 in offense and number 1 in defense?
I think it was 2010.
How did they do that year?
Didn't make the playoffs.
See what I'm saying? Like, screw these rankings. Like, the scoreboard's the only thing that matters.
It leads to
one,
though.
Yeah. Chargers are the only team that could have done that, by the way.
Yeah, that is the definition of charging it. Like when the Wikipedia, what is charging? That right there goes right at the top, and then Jacksonville number 2, then Joey Bosa number 3. All right, hey, I want to give you these numbers real fast. All right, teams that salary cap problems, because people ask us all the time, how bad is it for the Chargers? Chargers obviously are in the top 5 worst situation when it comes to salary cap. Can you guys name the number 1 team salary cap wise that's in a lot of trouble?
Ooh,
and the reason it's important is
Saints.
when I throw these teams at you, is you're going to have to start looking at their rosters to go, all right, well, who's going to be available off these teams, right? Because you want to steal these guys. Like people are going to look at Khalil Mack and go, dude, Chargers can't keep him. We're chasing him. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Mike Williams. Okay.
Who's the answer?
Mario, what did you say number 1 was?
I was going to guess Saints.
You're absolutely right. $83 million. They're in trouble. That's crazy. Like who's running the books? What the hell happened over there, right? $83 million. It's one of the reasons they said Sean Payton took off. Is he's like, we have no chance of winning in the near future. That the Saints basically are upside down all the time. The other team, when we talk about windows being open, Miami Dolphins are number 2. Okay. Number 3 from that same division. Can you guess the third team?
Bills.
The Bills, right? We talk about that window closing all the time. Buffalo Bills, they're $51 million over. Chargers are number 4.
How the 49ers not in the top 3? It seems like they have everybody on their team.
Because you aren't paying Purdy $50 million a year.
True.
Yeah.
The quarterback is
You know-
such a big reason.
Yeah, and I mean, let me ask you just real quick. We won't spend a lot of time on it. How many of you guys, or do you guys think there should be a separate salary cap for quarterbacks? Like, I'm one of those guys as a fan. I wish the quarterbacks were over here, everyone else is over here. NFL owners will never go for that, by the way. It's all about the bottom line for owners. But for a fan, I'm all for it because it gives you a chance to spend more money on other players.
Do you think that'd be better or worse for a locker room if a quarterback was in a separate category?
I can't hear you, Mario. You're muted. Mario, you're
Mute my
muted.
guy.
Sorry, cops are coming. That'd be incredibly worse, insanely worse for the locker room. I having, because you're then saying, like, you're then buying into like the Russell Wilson of like, oh, he deserves his own office. You know, you gotta go talk to the quarterback. You gotta go to his office. Like, shut up. You're not above anyone. You know, get in a locker room with the rest of them. You know, I think it's stupid.
Technically, they are already in their own salary cap, right? I mean, Dak Prescott makes this amount. Justin Herbert makes that amount. I mean, and let's be honest, they are above everybody else. I mean, Aaron Rodgers played 3 snaps the whole year, and he won Jets Teammate of the Year. Yet they said he was like the worst teammate of all time because they had to make Aaron feel good. You know, technically it kind of goes that way. All right, real quick, Chargers are number 4, $45 million in the hole, and the number 5 team also inside our division. Which team is that?
Raiders.
Denver.
It's Denver. It's
Oh,
Denver. How about that? Not even the team that wins the division every year is the one in trouble. It's the Denver Broncos. Okay,
Good.
least amount.
Well,
All right.
2 out of the 5. Wait, 3 out of the 5 teams you just named didn't make the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Bills and Dolphins are only
Sorry.
2 teams that made the playoffs.
What does that tell you? And that being said, only one of them changed head coaches. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, does that mean? I
That's
mean, again, we
interesting.
pointed that out. Dennis Allen is still there in New Orleans. How?
Yeah,
You know,
Greg Roman's like, how is this happening?
Yeah. Seriously, I mean, like what is going on in New Orleans? Like Dennis Allen's better than Bill Belichick and Mike Vrabel and anyone else you want to look at. Very, very strange.
I got to cut you off. You off. We got our first super chat, and I just want to say thank you from Mikey Kroll. Very nice comment. He wrote, "Watching this pod for free for the past 2 years has felt illegal. Thanks for all the great info and entertainment. What do you guys think about trading back further and taking a cornerback or edge?"
Go ahead, Mario.
All right. Yeah.
No, you go, Josh.
First off, thank you again. No.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
I'm not okay with trading back to take a cornerback or edge. I'm definitely okay with taking a cornerback or edge in the 2nd or 3rd round. But if you're going to trade back, I think you got to help out Justin Herbert and get either the tackle, get Joe Alt, or get Malik Neighbors or Brock Bowers. You got to get somebody within the offense with that first pick. And that's just my opinion. Maybe defense is what you guys want, but I'd love to hear what you think about that. Corner edge to me isn't the top need.
So it's interesting because right now, if you look at our edges, right, so you have Bosa, Mack, and Thule, depending on what you do with Mack and Bosa. But let's just say for this experiment or hypothesis we're in, they both stay. So if you get one, you can get Dallas Turner of Bama or Jared Verse, Florida State edge. So you get that, and you have 2 old guys on the way out and 2 young guys on the way in, and you have an insanely dangerous edge coming. You have insanely dangerous defense coming at you. But at the same time, I'm kind of with you, Josh. As much as I'm a big defensive guy, and I love the attitude of our edge is just as soon as you have 2 new guys come in, those are 2 new starters for any other teams in Thule and Verse or Thule or Turner. I still think you have the franchise quarterback. Do not do what the Packers did with Rodgers and just never help him out with weapons or anything like that. I think you got it with the spot you're in. You got to get the Bowers. You got to get the wideout. You got to get the, Joe Alt O-line. You got to do that first and take care of that first. I think that's the route you got to go, Dave. And, it's sucks because the defense is going to, maybe suffer a little bit for it. But there's 7 rounds in the draft. You can focus defense on the other areas. I think for the first round, you got to focus on offense.
All right, Mike, appreciate, again, stepping up and asking the question. Hey, doing the show for 2 years for free is felt illegal. No, I'm kidding, Mike. We get paid. We get paid for this. Hey, so here's the deal. Yeah, we need everything. I mean, I understand exactly why he asked that question. Everything he said, we need. Mario said it earlier in the show. We need that big time corner. We need an edge rusher, especially if you're going to dump two of them. If you dump Bosa and you dump Khalil Mack, then what does that leave the team? The reason why this team, in my opinion, will go offense. Why did Jim Harbaugh take this job? Why was this the job Jim Harbaugh wanted? It was Justin Herbert, right?
Yep.
It was all that he was in love with Justin Herbert. Sees a tremendous amount of talent there, and he wants an opportunity to coach him. This is the first draft with him as the head coach, Justin Herbert as his quarterback. This is him right now establishing a relationship with Justin Herbert on, I'm going to take care of you. And if it's going to be an offensive guy, whether, again, it could be a wide receiver, it could be a tight end, it could be an offensive lineman, and Joe Alt. That's the name we keep hearing over and over again. Either way, that all benefits Justin Herbert and Justin Herbert's career. And Jim Harbaugh's doing a sales job. His job is to make sure to let him know, you and I, this is what it's going to be for the next 5 years. We got this.
Yep. All right, we got another super chat. This one's from LS. It says, this
Cool.
is by far my favorite Chargers podcast. I love how all three of you are so honest and don't hold back. Yeah, tell my girlfriend that. Thank you guys so much for the awesome content. Bolt up. LS, thank you. I appreciate that.
Dude, thanks, LS.
Yeah, I'll say something about that, actually. I like that we're honest. It's my favorite thing about our show is that we don't make anything fake or say that we're going to cheer for the Chargers even when they suck. We're going to cheer for the Chargers, but we're going to tell you that they suck at the same time when they do suck. So hopefully you guys appreciate the honesty, and we try to, say it how we see it.
Yeah, we try and we do our best. We're emotional. We're out of pocket sometimes every now and then. Hey, that's okay. That's what we're here for. We have some more questions too from last show that we didn't get to.
Well, hold on real quick. I just want to point out, Mario, the reason we're honest on this show, two reasons. One is we want to see the Chargers win. Okay. We're rooting for this team the way you guys are. Two is there's no reason not to be honest. There's nothing they can do to take anything away from us to make us not be honest. Meaning, what are they going to do? Take our press credentials? Hate to say it, they've already done that. We used to have an opportunity to go to the games and sit there and walk in the locker room afterwards. Guess what? They didn't like what we had to say. They took it away. That's absolutely fine. So here we are. We're honest. We're still rooting for the Chargers. Nothing against anyone that works in that front office. But at the same time, here we are, and we're getting a chance to talk Charger football 2 to 3 times a week, and we love it. Thank you very much, LS.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to him. Shout out to Bolt City fans. These are pretty cool. We'll hang out sometime. Got a good studio apartment. All right. Staying with the comments that we had last show. We had one, and this is from 14 Kind Fred. Hell of a name, my man. That took a lot of creativity. Can the Chargers get Mike Evans? We're looking to free agency a little bit here. Can the Chargers get Mike Evans? Josh, we can start with you on this one. I count this as a pipe dream, as something that I go to bed at night. I wake up in the morning. I go, man, that was a really good dream. Maybe that can happen. But curious your thoughts. Can they get Mike Evans, one of the top receivers in the league and one of the most underrated, I think, players we've seen in the past decade?
I think there's little to no chance Mike Evans is wearing a Chargers uniform next year. And I hate to say that because he's one of my favorite players. He's going to be on the Chiefs. If there's a betting, on favorite for what team Mike Evans is going to be on, it's going to be the Chiefs. I think we've spoken about this before. There's no shot Mike Evans becomes a Charger when you have to get rid of, a guy like Mike Williams because we're already over the cap.
Okay, so at the same time, I'm hearing everything about the Chiefs, hearing a lot this week about the Panthers, that Mike Evans going up on the Panthers. I really would love to see Mike Evans on the Chargers. I think it would be awesome, right? You have 2 veteran wide receivers. You have a veteran quarterback. To have Mike Evans on one side and Keenan Allen on the other, how great would that be? And then imagine if you got your tight end as well. How nuts would that be? It would be great, but I don't want to see him on the Chiefs. I mean, it's going to break my heart when he goes to the Chiefs if that's the case. So can I throw this at you guys? Teams with the most cap space to see if Mike Evans fits any of these teams.
Oh yeah, go.
Okay. So number 1, Mario, do you have any idea since you got the Saints right off the bat?
I think it's Colts. No, Bears are second, I think, or second or third.
Bears are third.
Yeah.
It's not. It's. Do you want to guess, Josh?
Patriots.
Bad team. No, it's not. It's the Washington Commanders. $73 million. Okay. Second one is the Tennessee Titans. Okay, Chicago Bears, as I mentioned, are third. They're 66 million. Tennessee, by the way, is 67 million. Patriots are 66 million. Bears, by the way, almost 67 million. And the Bengals, believe it or not, are number 5. Now, everyone says, how can that be with the Bengals? Because you're hearing all this talk that they can't afford T. Higgins, right? The T. Higgins is going to be out the door. The interesting thing you're hearing about Cincinnati, how they're going to move things around. Jamar Chase is looking for that big, giant contract. And they're going to tell Jamar Chase, hey, Jamar, let us sign T. Higgins. And what we're going to do is we're going to want to have you wait 1 year, and then we're going to promise we're going to come back with your big contract, the one you've been waiting for, the one like Justin Jefferson got with Minnesota. Are you okay with that? And I'm like, if I'm Jamar Chase, I'm like, are you okay with me not playing in all 17 games? Because if you're going to pay me big time in 17 games, but you aren't going to pay me now, even though you should be paying me right now, I'm not sure I'm going to sit there and be the same player you want me to be, because I'm basically playing with no insurance policy. If I'm Jamar Chase, look, I know you're supposed to be a good teammate, man, but in this situation, if I'm him, you got to look out for yourself and say, you are paying me now. We're going to figure out that big contract right now. That's what I'm doing. I'm selfish in this situation.
It's funny that you mentioned Jamar Chase and playing with no insurance. Young West, by the way, says, love the channel. Let's hope next year's a step up. Amen, my friend. Jamar Chase is the same guy that didn't play his last year at LSU because of the draft. So do you think Jamar Chase is going to be okay playing 17 games in the NFL with no insurance of possibly not getting hurt? And also, if you're Jamar Chase, why would you want T. Higgins on the team that bad? He takes away your targets. If I'm Jamar Chase, I'm completely happy with Tyler Boyd being on the other side, or another number 2 receiver that isn't T. Higgins, so I can get even more targets like Justin Jefferson.
I completely disagree. I completely disagree. I think you look at T. Higgins, you go, you give me more one-on-one matchups than I'd ever get if you weren't out there. You also help us win. And we got this close to a Super Bowl. I want to be back in a Super Bowl. We're in a very jam-packed, talented AFC that just gets better and better every single year. There's now CJ Stroud that's coming for our throat. And he looks very, very good with, again, 2 receivers that just came onto the scene this year. Let's say they get Mike Evans. That's another threat. Herbert just got finally a head coach. That's another threat. I want to keep this thing going. I know there's a money situation to it. I know the Cincinnati Bengals have known to be cheap, but I don't think if Jamar Chase is going to sit there and go, it's good that he's leaving. I think he's going to go, no, we need to keep this band together. I think Burrow's going to be the same thing with them. We need to keep this band together. There's some special brewing there. Why not keep it going? There's a window, and I think he wants to be in that window to win.
Well, Joe Burrow's, of course, going to say yes. He already got his money.
Yeah, he already got his money. But I'm just saying, I don't see Chase going, no, I'm so out. I'm so out. I just don't see that happening. I think he wants Higgins back. It's up to Higgins to think of what he wants to do. It's Higgins going, maybe I want to be my own individual player, own individual stud. And if he wants to do that, he can go somewhere else and get it. And I also like to point out that Mike Evans to the Panthers is the most baloney, insane, doesn't make any sense thing in the world. And the Chargers won't get him. Sorry.
All right. It makes sense for the Panthers because they're trying to give something to Bryce Young. All right. So a couple things that just with Jamar Chase. Remember we had that conversation about Tony Gonzalez went on and he said more than 80% of the guys in the NFL don't care about wins and losses. They just care about getting paid. The fans care a lot more than the players care when it comes to wins and losses, but the players just want that check. Josh just mentioned it. When the same guy was in college, it was all about the check. He has a history of doing this, that it's about the check. It's not about the team.
COVID happened too, though. Just saying.
It wasn't like they canceled the season. They played the season.
Shorter games. It wasn't like he was the only guy that did it. A lot guys did that.
I'm just saying, there's in his resume, it shows that he sat out. You think he sat out just because he was afraid of getting COVID?
I don't think that should count. It was a COVID year. It was a shorter year. They didn't know if there was even they didn't know if someone got COVID and they were going to be done for the year. There's a lot of blanks and ifs that just didn't really make a lot of sense.
This is going to be an interesting story to watch. By the way, the COVID year was great. Alabama won the national championship. Anyway,
right,
go ahead.
Roll Tide. Eddie Ramirez says, I agree with Dave. Coach, get some veneers, please. And he's not talking about Coach Dave. He's talking about Jim Harbaugh. He's a coffee guy. Yeah. Don't hate coffee guys around here. He does need it, clean that up a little bit. Ryan Culpepper says, glad to be able to finally donate too. The cost for Evans is going to be nuts. I don't want to pay 2 receivers in their 30s that much money. I think that's a great way to put it. I mean, you're going to have 2 older receivers. You're going to be paying that much. I don't think it makes sense, Mario, and we already touched on that. What's the next question you have?
Well, hold on, real quick. So Josh, you say he ends up with the Chiefs. Mario, where does he end up with? Where does he
Mike
go?
Evans.
Yep.
I think Texans.
Ooh, that's a great
I
call.
think Texans. Yeah, really, really go after him.
In 9 years, mark it down. He'll be a Tennessee Titan. When it's all said and done, he'll end up with the Titans in 9 years. Titans signed all these guys when they're 100.
Oh.
Think about it.
So if
Andre
he's still
Johnson,
playing.
Julio Jones, right? They do this all the
Yeah.
time.
But
Who else
trade
on there?
away
Randy
AJ
Moss.
Brown.
They had Randy Moss. Do you remember Randy Moss even on the Titans?
I do.
Yeah.
I
do.
don't. Wow.
Yeah. Dude, the Titans do this all the time. They get guys when they're 100. So we'll see you, Mike Evans, in about 9 years. Go ahead.
All right. This is one more from the last show, and then we'll get to Val Productions. Shout out to you. We'll get to your question, and Isaiah Francis, we'll get to yours as well. So this last one. Can we trade with the Falcons and take 8 plus Kyle Pitts? This is from first name, last name, 9661. You had a really good opportunity to make a 69 joke. We'll get him next time. So I ask you, Josh, do you like the idea of trading with the Falcons and taking Kyle Pitts, kind of swapping picks a little bit? I think there'd have to be a little bit more in there from the Chargers side. But do you like this idea? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not a fan of it.
Help me out with the Falcons pick. Do you know what they have?
8, right?
They have 8.
Look.
So if you traded,
Yeah, 8.
so if you traded away the 5th pick for the 8th pick, you would get Kyle Pitts. Is that what they're saying?
Essentially, yeah. That's it. I think, again, there would probably be more stuff in there, given the situation. But
So you
we'll
could
just go with
probably
that.
get, just playing the game, that means you'd get Pitts and you'd get Joe Alt.
Or Neighbors? Or no, Neighbors would be
Well,
gone probably.
Yeah, I don't think it makes a date.
Yeah, or you get Romy. I'm gonna mess that up.
Here's my question to you guys about this. Have you seen anywhere that Joe Alt can play right tackle? I might have missed it. Can he? Because that's not just a thing you just do. Like, I'm just going to play right tackle. I've been a left tackle my whole life, and I'm going to play right tackle. There's certain guys that will tell you, like Taylor Lewan, I cannot play right tackle. Can Joe Alt play right tackle? Are we sure about this? Are we going to take a chance on a guy that has never done it before? To answer your question, I would trade the 5th pick for the 8th pick to get Kyle Pitts because it's a travesty towards football that you don't utilize this guy. I mean, at Florida, he was Brock Bowers, but probably better. He's more, caught everything. Not that Brock Bowers doesn't, but he had bigger numbers, I think, his last year at Florida. I would definitely trade the 5th pick for the 8th pick to get Kyle Pitts and then pray you can get a guy like Malik Neighbors or take the chance on Joe Alt.
What do you think, Dave?
Here's my thing on Kyle Pitts. Like a year ago, man, I was all for let's get Kyle Pitts. Falcons don't know how to use him. Let's get Kyle Pitts. And I watched him at Florida, just like Josh said. I mean, he was like their number one weapon. Nobody could stop him. Alabama couldn't stop him. He was just money. For some reason in the NFL, he hasn't done a damn thing. And I can't remember, Josh, who you spoke to, but you shared the story with me. There are certain guys you look at and you go, that guy's going to be a successful tight end because it was that he had loose hips. Certain guys, when they have stiff hips, you can tell they aren't going to be. I don't know what Kyle Pitts is anymore. Like, I'm not sold on Kyle Pitts. I was a huge fan of O.J. Howard, the tight end, when he was at Alabama. So whoever gets him is going to have a great tight end. He didn't have success in the NFL. As a matter of fact, he's out of the NFL right now. And he went to like 4 different franchises. I think he just finished with the Raiders last year. But I don't know what Kyle Pitts is anymore. And is it the Falcons' fault or is it Kyle Pitts can't play in the NFL? But right now it's gone so long that I think I'm selling my stock on Kyle Pitts.
Wow.
So here's the thing. I don't think you should sell stock on Kyle Pitts. I'm kind of with you, Josh. I think he's a generational talent. He's insane talent. Don't think Arthur Smith used him in the right ways. Also, just don't think he had a quarterback that could throw to him at all. He didn't have a quarterback at all like that. Yeah. So I think that didn't help him at all with that. The thing that worries me about making this move is the Chargers are paying a lot of guys and they're still trying to figure that all out. The benefit of the draft is you draft these guys. You don't got to pay them anything. You're getting pennies on the dollar for the talent and the production that you get from them. Pitts is on 1 year left of his contract, and then he's going to get paid. He's going to do the thing that everyone's going to do, that everyone tries to do, is going to go, we want to reset the market. We want to reset the market for tight ends. They all do it. Everyone does it at every position. Roquan Smith said it for the linebacker position. I want to reset the market. Okay. They're all going to do it. I don't want to be in the spot where you trade for a guy and you give up assets And then you go, all right, that was a rental. Nice job. We'll see you later. And you're going, all right, well, obviously, thanks for the memories in that 1 year. Well, we need someone to grow with Herbert. And I think at that fifth spot, you can get, we mentioned Bowers a good amount. You can get kind of that going, and you get him on a cheap contract while you figure out everyone else's contract. And then, 4 years later or whatever, you can go, all right, now let's revisit what we should do here. I just think in the money situation, if the Chargers, were the Bears or the Titans where they're not paying anyone, I go, hell yeah, make that move because then you can pay this guy and it just doesn't freaking matter. But at this point, you're paying so many guys, you're in such a deep hole and the pocket's already pretty full. I think it's gonna be hard to do it.
I think that's a great point. You don't want to take that chance if you don't know he's going to be that guy and you have to pay him. Vile Production says, keep it up, guys. You helped me get through the Jacksonville nightmare. Yeah, you're welcome. I watched that show multiple times. Also, this is it for Herbert. If he can't thrive under Jim, is Herbert contract going to go down as bad? Yes. If Justin Herbert can't do well under Jim Harbaugh and they surround him with Joe Alt or league neighbors, Brock Bowers, and they help him out and Chargers actually don't get hurt for once and he still, can't lead you to the playoffs, it's a failure. Justin Herbert's brought in, paid all that money to be the franchise quarterback that wins in the playoffs. We don't care about the regular season stats. Phillip Rivers is like 5th all time in passing touchdowns and yards, no Super Bowl appearances. So for Justin Herbert to be considered successful, in my opinion, you have to base it off of wins. And I know wins aren't a quarterback stat. Everybody likes to throw that out there. There's nobody more responsible for wins and losses on the field than the quarterback.
100% agree. Matter of fact, when he just said that, like in my mind, I've never once thought for a second that Justin Herbert would continue to fail. I never thought he would be a guy that will be in a situation when it's all said and done, he has a losing record in his career. And it has never, ever entered my mind. Like I'm just waiting for greatness to start. We all see it. We all know it's there. The NFL knows it. Players in the league know it. He hasn't had the right support, hasn't had the right coach, hasn't had someone that has a history of winning. This is going to be the next 3 years will be his best situation. He is set up to succeed. Again, like we said at the beginning of the show, this is why Jim Harbaugh took this job. Jim Harbaugh went to a Super Bowl with Colin Kaepernick. Jim Harbaugh made Alex Smith look good. Jim Harbaugh has won everywhere he's gone with basically mediocre quarterbacks. Not any of these guys are future Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Justin Herbert can be that guy. And if that combination doesn't work, I'm going to be completely shocked.
Yeah, I'm going to be shocked as well. And like you said, everything's set up for him to succeed. Everything's set up for a very successful 3 years. I will say, I think this next year, we're going to see a little bit dip in Herbert numbers that we've seen in the previous years. Not because of him not playing well, not because of him, not having a good year, just solely because there's been such a big emphasis on running the football, ground and pound there. I think we're going to see more of that. It's going to be less pressure off Herbert, which is going to help him kind of be more accurate. Feel like he can manage the game a little bit better. So I'd say just watch out for that because at one point next year when the Chargers are succeeding and he gets into that MVP debate and that topic, they're going to hit that and go, oh, his numbers aren't as good as the early years. Well, it's because there's a more balanced offense in place. And because of that, his numbers are going to tinker a little bit. But that being said, I completely agree. I think I'm going to give him 2 years. I think in a 1 year, well, it's going to be a little too harsh to see. Russell Wilson got 2 years, guys. Let's give Herbert at least 2 years to see how good this contract's really going to be. So did Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones sucks. So let's just do that, and let's just be patient with that on that end. But, it's going to be do or die for a good man, Herbert.
Is Daniel Jones in the room with you right now? You
No.
gotta hide it.
Maybe the ghost. I gotta do a show with a lot of New Yorkers, and some of them are really still Daniel Jones guys. So I'm just keeping low for the fear of them finding my family. Yeah.
Okay.
Mario, I got a question for you.
Absolutely.
This comes from Isaiah Francis. It says, depending on if Kendricks or Murray come back, do you think Henley gets more playing time on defense? And is he a Harbaugh guy?
Oof. Very, very good question, sir. Shout out Isaiah Francis. Great question. I could see it. I could see him getting like a little bit more playing time. If Kendricks or Murray come back. The thing that I see right away in this scenario is Kendricks gets hurt because he's an older guy with a lot of miles playing a very physical, hard-nosed position. So I think Kendricks plays a little bit less. He's going to not see as much tick. I think he's going to be in there. Now, is he a hardball guy? We will know that It's a cop-out answer, but we're going to know that in August. I think we're going to know after the first preseason game if he's a hardball guy or not. And then that's really going to determine what happens from there. As of now, I think he is kind of more of a hardball guy. I think when you saw the physicality kind of play with this past year, I think he is a little bit more of a hardball guy. But I don't think we're going to really know until August hits. And that's when we're going to know some true answers about him and kind of what's going to go and what the direction his career is going to go, Dave.
It is one of the strangest things that happened last year to me is when you watch Henley in preseason, then you see Henley basically not anywhere. The only thing I can think of with Henley is, this is bad to say. This is me just saying it. I have no idea. Okay. I haven't talked to anybody about this. I would tell you if I had. Is he dumb as a rock? Because he's physical, he's strong, he's fast, he seems to know where the ball is. Like, he looks like a guy that reacts and knows what to do. And a lot of preseason is just reacting. It's not about schemes. So the fact he wasn't playing makes me think Staley didn't have confidence in him. Why didn't he have confidence in him? Was he not smart enough to follow the defensive scheme? I don't know. But yeah, we know that Jim Harbaugh loves physical football players. It seems like from the outside, this is going to be a perfect match. Like, this is going to be exactly a guy that's going to revive his career and get him in order, unless he's stupid. And I don't know. But I can't figure out why he didn't play.
Here's my thing. Why wouldn't you play Henley when you know what you have in Murray and Kendricks? Henley is the unknown. We already know that Murray is not that guy. We already know that Kendricks is old. Like Mario said, he's the most likely guy on the defense to get hurt. We don't root for anybody to get hurt, but if you were to say there's one guy on the Chargers defense that's most likely to miss time next year, you're going to point at Eric Kendricks. Why not see what Henley has? That's why you have a training camp and practice games and give him opportunities to see if he can do it or not. Because this is a rebuilding defense. I mean, the defense hasn't been good for a while. So why not see what you have in a guy that you drafted that high? We know what Tooley is. We never really got to see what Henley is. And we know he's fast and he can play the position in college, right? Everybody can play in college, but we can't determine if they can play in the NFL unless they get opportunities. Isn't that what everybody wants in life? Opportunities. Give this guy a chance to see if he can play or not.
Yep.
Also curious, like, what about the draft? Like, what if there's a linebacker they really like in the draft that they have coming in, right? Like, what if that happens? What if there's,
oh no, we have too many linebackers. Oh,
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's
no,
yeah, they better get the linebacker, right? When was the last time the Chargers had a really good linebacker?
Merriman.
That they drafted?
Yeah,
I mean, it's Merriman, but I mean, the way I look at
middle
Merriman,
linebacker is it Junior Seau?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm trying to remember. Did the Chargers ever? When's the last time they really had a great one?
Junior.
I mean, yeah. They could do honestly what the Ryan Pace move, which was really funny, is that they Bears really needed a tight end, and they brought on 9 tight ends on the roster. You just go, all right, someone's got to be good.
The Angels just did that with their pitchers. Drafted 37 pitchers.
Yeah, they used every pick on a pitcher. Yeah, true.
Yeah, we have a couple more super chats. I got to read them off. All right. Alan says, best Chargers podcast. Keep it 100, fellas. That's what we do.
Thanks,
Ryan
Alan.
Culpepper. Yeah. Ryan Culpepper says, why trust Staley's intuition on Henley? After all the behind-the-scene news we received, Henley may not have been great, but Murray Kendricks were his guys. I mean, it goes back to what we just said. I couldn't agree more. Sebastian Joseph Day was Staley's guy. How did that work out?
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't care who Staley's guys are. I want to see who Jim Harbaugh's guys are. That's why you bring him in, because you trust his opinion. Joe Ortiz, I want to see who his guys are. I know we talk about the draft and we say, who does Jim Harbaugh want? If you don't forget, we brought in Joe Ortiz from the Ravens because this is what he does. He knows who's going to be Jim Harbaugh's guys, and they work in tandem together to get the guys that are going to build this Chargers culture. Why not see who Jim Harbaugh's guys are? I don't care who Brandon Staley's guys are. I think everybody that's watching the show right now doesn't care who Brandon Staley's guys are. You know who didn't play well under Brandon Staley? Pretty much everyone besides Khalil Mack, including Derwin James. Including Derwin James. You guys forget that Derwin James was that guy, and then Brandon Staley said, you're not anymore? I mean, I want to see Derwin James more than anybody, but I want to see coming up who he's going to choose as his guys, Jim Harbaugh's guys that fit this new Chargers culture.
Dude, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's exactly what it is. I mean, who cares what Staley thought? Obviously, what he thought didn't work. You're picking number 5, right? We're picking 5th overall because Staley's guys weren't the right guy. I mean, there are a lot of guys that you like to sit down and say, Jim, I'm going to help you make the cut list. I watched more Charger football than you did last year. I'd like to help you start getting rid of guys. I tell you what, that being said, I would love to be in the room while Jim is going through every one of these games and every play and going, what the hell were they doing here? Because we did a lot of that as fans, right? What the hell's that guy doing here? And to see Jim make a decision on guys, and I know I always go after Joey Bosa, but there are a bunch of guys on this team. We go, what were they doing? And we would question hustle and effort. And at the same time, it comes down to skill. And unfortunately, if it comes down to skill, you don't belong on an NFL roster. You don't belong on an NFL roster. And Murray's one of those guys, does not belong on this Chargers roster.
He doesn't. And I'm so excited to see like who gets unleashed. Like who stays on the roster and who just gets unleashed, right? Like I said this before. And I know it made Dave and Josh, I know it made you guys want to bang your head against the wall, which I apologize. But like, what if like Bosa actually unleashes? Like, what if like this is the key that unlocks Bosa, like Harbaugh is? And whatever, like could happen. But like, say the same for whoever, put in the player. Well, if this is the exact guy that's, Derwin James needs, this is the exact guy that Quinn Johnston needs, like maybe who's going to get unlocked through it. I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see. It's going to be really, really fun to see going into the 2024 season. So I'm excited for that, man. I can't wait to see who Harbaugh puts his key in and goes, all right, you're free now. Let's go. Let's hit hard. Let's be a dominant team in the AFC.
Do you guys think he could save Joey Bosa?
Yeah, 100%.
Would you pay Joey Bosa, in the high $30 million to see if he has another year left in him, if he could do it?
Okay.
Who do we have to get rid of if we pay him?
You got to get rid of Khalil Mack, Mike Williams.
Nope.
Yeah. But I think Mike Williams. I think Mike Williams is good as gone.
Yeah, he is.
I agree with that. I think he's most likely to not be back.
It's $32 million out of the 45 you can save. It's one of the easiest cuts, right? But at the same time, if you got rid of, let's say, Mack or Bosa, then all of a sudden we're spending money. And the team does have to spend money. They got to go out and sign some other free agents to fix some holes. So I'll ask you right now. Let's say, Josh, you're hired as a new wide receivers coach, or Mario, you're hired as a new wide receivers coach for the Chargers, and your job is to fix Quentin Johnson. I mean, what's your first step? What are you doing?
Banging my head against the wall, like Mario said. Yeah. I mean, the thing with Quentin Johnston is confidence. When you watch Quentin Johnston play, it looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. You can't play well if you're confused about what route to run or where to be. Dave loves to talk about the whole Tony Romo situation last year, where he heard that, he doesn't know the plays. If Quentin Johnson doesn't know the plays, how good can you be? Your quarterback's not going to throw you the ball if you don't know where your receiver's going to be at. If I'm the receivers coach, I'm telling Quentin Johnston, look, we got to get on the jugs machine. We got to catch with our hands and not our body. And we got to know the playbook inside and out. I need you to be in this building studying this playbook so you know what to do. You can't be confused on where to be. And also, I don't think the Chargers did him a favor last year by having him run with the threes. If you're going to draft a guy in the first round, why wouldn't you have him run with the starting quarterback and Keenan Allen and Mike Williams? Get him some field time with the guys that are going to play. You're going to expect a guy that runs with the threes to get in there with the ones in a real game and produce? I think it was a huge disaster by the Chargers coaching staff last year.
And to your point, like you saw it in his one-on-one matchups. Like they would go to these matchups because you're like, oh, he's got one-on-one with no safety on the top. Yeah, when you go in one-on-one against the third corner on the roster, you're going to feel pretty damn good about your matchup. But when you go up against the number one on every other NFL team and go, oh, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Like, this guy actually kind of jammed me. Like, God, he got his hands on me pretty quick. Like, yeah, it's going to get a little hard for you, fella. Like, they didn't do him any favors last year, and I don't think talent-wise he was ready yet for anything that was thrown at him, literally and figuratively. His route running needs to improve. You mentioned his catching needs to improve. Obviously, his speed and athleticism is there. But a lot of things need to improve. Do I think it's possible, Dave? Absolutely, it's possible. Do the Chargers need it? Hell, they need it quickly. But like, we've said it from the get-go. He's a project. And, the project's not finished on him. So we'll see. My nephew's science project's not done. So we'll see which one's done first.
Yeah, he wasn't drafted in the first round. When you're drafted in the first round, man, this is a mistake that you got to try and do your best to fix. You can't just throw them away. It's not a 7th round pick that you go, we blew a 7th round pick, and you throw them away. First round is you do everything you can to fix it. Like literally, if I was the wide receivers coach of the Chargers, I'd have one of those jugs machines on the outside of every door in his house, where every time he opened a door coming out of his bedroom, bathroom, boom, ball.
Yeah.
Over and over again. Like, dude, I'm putting cameras in your house. I want to see how many you caught throughout the day. But every time you open a door, a ball is going to be rifled at you. And I want to see a catch. But, the Tony Romo thing is really kind of scary. And when you hear that he didn't know the plays, man, look, the NFL playbook is tough. Any playbook is tough, but especially in the NFL, it's extremely hard. The fact he was running with the threes, Josh, what that tells me, the Chargers didn't have time for him to learn the playbook to run with the ones. And maybe the Chargers coached him wrong. Maybe the wide receivers coach should have been on the field with them and saying, "This is where you're going," and have him run with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert, because his workouts with Easton Stick sure as hell didn't work.
Dude, I'm not the smartest guy, but I know what ROI means. And if you draft a guy in the first round, like what? Doesn't make any sense. One more super chat before we get out of here. It's going to be directed at Dave and I. So I'll let Dave answer this first. This question is for Dave and Josh. Why do you guys hate on Houston as a city? Laugh out loud. Love the show, guys. Keep up the good work. It comes from Brandon Hannon. So why do you dislike Houston?
All right, Here we go. Brandon, I'll tell you what I like about Houston, and I'll tell you what I dislike about Houston. Okay, I'll give you two that I like. When you go to Houston, the food portions are insane. Okay, they feed you like no other city. You get a side salad; it's as big as the entire dining room table. I mean, that's a side salad. They overfeed you. It's awesome, right? Milwaukee and Houston, they know how to feed you. There's a reason why people look the way they look. I'll leave it at that. Two, I love the movie Breaking Training with the Bad News Bears, where they go and they play inside the Houston Astrodome. Bums me out every time they show the Astrodome right next to Energy Field, and I know there's nothing in there but rats. Yeah, they don't tear it down. And the Astrodome used to be a really cool thing that people play sports indoors, but it looked so big before on TV, and now it looks so small compared to Energy Stadium. And the thing I hate most about Houston, without a doubt, is that the Houston Astros stole the 2017 World Series from the Dodgers, and that World Series trophy wasn't taken away. You don't have to give it to the Dodgers because there's no guarantee the Dodgers would have won it. The Yankees could have won it. Who else? The fact that I almost cussed right there. The fact that your team wears your stupid rings and shows that stupid trophy when everyone knows they cheated, and it's not a matter of you think they cheated. It was admitted they cheated. General manager lost their job. Manager lost their job. These guys are a bunch of cheaters, and the fact the Astros celebrate it like it's some big giant accomplishment is my number one reason why I hate the city of Houston. Sorry.
That's very well said. The reason why I don't like Houston is because I just thought the city sucked. There's nothing really there to me. Like every city has its own thing. I was like, what does Houston actually have? When I was there, I know it's huge. It's like one of the biggest cities in the United States population wise. I just thought there's nothing really there. Like there's a bunch of nothing. I hate to say that if it's your city, I apologize. But the best thing about Houston was I did get a side salad that was like family sized, and they had a salad bar. Typically in California, where I'm from, salad bars have carrots and olives and cherry tomatoes. This one had chopped up eggs. They had everything on this one. They had full sausage links. They had bacon. They had pieces of rib you can put in there. I was like, this is the fattest city in America, but I love it because I ate it. Also in Houston, I've never seen so many people that had to get driven through the airport because they couldn't walk, which blew my mind a little bit. But hey, I love you, Brandon.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah.
So I looked up the top 10 things to do in Houston. If you guys would like to run through them.
How many of them are restaurants?
None.
Okay.
They're actually the most random things I've ever seen. Market Square Park. The Space Center.
Yeah, that makes
Splash Town. I would be there in a heartbeat at a bar.
Of course you would.
Yep. I'm all dude.
Is Splash Town a bar or is a water slide park? What is Splash
Water
Town?
slide, but if you mix them both, you got me there. Houston Museum of Natural Science, the Galleria, All right, I'm not gonna go through all of them. These are really not.
Is Gillies on there?
Oh, they're gonna be. No, Nifa's is that looks fire actually. I'm a big Mexican fan. That food looks phenomenal. But yeah, in a movie box theater. So that's it.
All right. There you go.
All right.
Also, guys, I had a big dilemma today that I wanted to share. I wrote that on my phone. So I was getting in the pump in before the show, because no days off. Forgot to pack shorts.
You work it out.
Yeah.
You were at the gym.
Working out.
Got it.
Yes, leg day. Those that care.
Okay.
And I forgot to pack shorts, so I had to go in like my black khaki pants in the gym, so I look like that guy.
So why
and-
didn't you just
so
skip?
that already
Just
sucked.
skip.
I
now you gotta
couldn't
change
skip if I
gyms.
gets because
Now you gotta
I
change
can't.
gyms.
I know. But I couldn't skip because I didn't have any other time of the day. I had to do a bunch of other stuff after the show. So I editing this and blah, blah, blah. And then about halfway through, the AirPods died. So the AirPods died. I'm in khaki pants. And I was like, dude, I got to finish this or I'm going to be like cranky the rest of the day. So like, I just talked to myself the whole time. Like I was literally lifting and I was like, you're soft, cuss word. Like I was that guy. Probably had security following me like a little bit. Like I was nuts today.
You look like security. You're wearing the same pants. What are you talking about?
It was a disaster.
Did you leave the AirPods in even though they're dead?
Yeah,
yes,
take them
I
out.
had to.
You had to. Yeah,
Yeah.
The saddest thing
But
I've
it
ever
was-
heard.
It was still miserable. Like imagine, and no one likes doing legs, but imagine like doing legs and then you have no music to get you going, and they have like
Yeah.
Katy Perry playing, and you're in khaki pants.
That's
It
awful.
sucked, dude.
Dude, I got a funny gym story for you real quick, Mario, and then we'll get out of here. A buddy of mine was always about 50 pounds overweight. As long as I've known him, he's about 50 pounds overweight. Haven't seen him in a few months. He shows up and I go, man, you look good. He lost the 50 pounds in like a few months. I go, what are you doing? He goes, man, I just made a deal with myself that no matter what, I'm going to work out every day. Doesn't matter how tired I am. I'm going to the gym. I'm working out. I go, good for you. And then as I'm looking at him every day, I realize he's getting bigger. Like he's gaining the weight back. And I'm like, what the hell? So finally I say, hey man, I go, you still going to the gym? No, I don't go to the gym anymore. I go, why not? You look so good. He goes, one day I came out of the gym and everything was great. And he goes, I made a right turn and I ran over the manager of the gym. He went flying through my windshield and I couldn't go back because I ran over the manager of the gym. And he goes, everybody knew I did it and I was embarrassed. And I go, why didn't you just join another gym? He goes, I don't know. I probably should have joined another gym. But because he ran over the manager of the gym, he had to stop going and start gaining all his weight back. It was awful. Crazy.
Just the odds of that happening are insane.
Josh knows the guy. Josh knows
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Could you imagine where he's through your windshield and he's in like the passenger seat and you're just like, so what do you do for a living?
He said he had
"Oh,
to
I'm
call
actually the
911. He said he was the one that got on the phone to call the ambulance. Guy's broken legs, kneecaps in his ear. Yeah. Went right into his
Not laughing
windshield,
at the
ran over
injury,
the
laughing
manager.
at the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, we're going to be back on Tuesday. Again, appreciate everybody that asked the questions. That was awesome. Actually, I really enjoyed that. You guys bring energy to the show, so thank you so much. Again, if you haven't clicked that thumb, obviously you guys aren't good listeners. Please click the thumb that you like the show. Subscribe as well. If you listen to the show through the Odyssey app, thank you, Bolt City Podcast. Again, everything right here on YouTube as well. Please write your comments. We read them all, and we'll try to respond to every single one of them. So we'll see you on Tuesday talking more Charger football. Hopefully we'll have an idea of something new as far as what's coming down the pipe that we can share with you. So for Mario Heron, Josh Palais, I'm Dave Palais. We'll see you next time.